Hey, what's up, guys? Wanted to record a quick post CPI number, post CPI data clip for you guys on tonight's podcast. Was able to take the weekend off, go to my son's baseball game, watch him hit a home run or two this weekend. So I'm really happy right now. Got to see my son, play really good this weekend. Like I said, hit a couple nukes out there, went yard on them hoes, and he definitely hit a lot of home runs this weekend. So I'm really proud of him. And it was a great weekend for me and my family. Got to go out, enjoy the sun. I know it's getting hot out there now, starting to get hot as fuck. But we're all getting ready for this summer, and I got a feeling it's going to be hot as shit this summer. I don't know why. I just got a feeling it's going to be hot as balls outside. So salute to all the fucking construction workers, all the cement workers, all the home builders, all the truck drivers, everyone that has to work outdoors this weekend or this summer. My heart goes out to you because it's going to be hot as fuck outside this summer. I got a feeling. But anyways, yeah, so I got to take some time off this weekend, everybody. Got to enjoy, time with my family. Got to watch my son play some baseball game, hit some big runs out there, and team played really well this weekend. So, I'm feeling pretty good right now. And I got, time to just kind of like step away from the market this weekend. Like I said, take some time off with my family, go out and eat. Got to go to Sonic, get us some slushies and some milkshakes, some Sonic Blast. You know what I mean? And it's been a good feeling. Like I said, when your kids are doing good stuff in school and your kids are playing hard at baseball, and you get to enjoy time with your family and get to enjoy those moments. It feels good to be able to just get out of the office, take a little, a small break, and just kind of like breathe for a moment, because it feels like every day we're just talking about inflation. It feels like every day we're talking about the stock market. Every day we're talking about the economy. We're talking about the workforce, the labor market, politics. Well, what's going to happen with Trump? Is he going to go to prison? Who's going to run for the president in 2024? Who's going to be the next president? Is it going to be Biden? Is it going to be Trump? Is it going to be Pelosi? Is it going to be AOC? Is it going to be Bernie? Is it going to be Hillary? Is it going to be Elizabeth Warren? Is it going to be Governor Newsom's bitch ass? I can't believe some of you guys still voted for him for governor of California. I can't fucking believe it. Is it going to be DeSantis from out there in Florida where woke goes to die? Is it going to be Governor Abbott from Texas who keeps putting all these immigrants on the fucking bus and shipping them to New York, dropping them off at the front of the White House like, si se puede, they'll help you over there, get all your welfare and food stamps from those bitches because we're not giving you shit in Texas. So it feels like every day we're talking about politics because everyone's wondering, is Biden going to be able to get reelected, or is he going to forget to run for president? What the fuck's going on with Biden? You know what I mean? So everyone's wanting to know what's going on with Trump. Is he going to get indicted? Is he going to get arrested? Is he going to get, serve time in the penitentiary? Is he going to get locked up in the Pinta next to El Chapo? What's going on with that? And, you have a lot of other Democrats and liberals and leftists and rightists and centralists and Republicans and left side, right side, this side, the other side, he, she, her, them motherfuckers. So it's a lot of things going on in this country, not just in politics, but in society, culturally, psychologically, emotionally, spiritually, financially. There's a lot of things that we talk about on the podcast, and I try to just keep focused on the stock market and these days the economy at large, especially as you guys know, the average American, who I believe is already experiencing a recession based on how much money they have in their bank account, based on how much money they have left in their savings account, and based how much money people are racking up in debt these days. Feels like everyone's drowning in fucking loans now. I mean, it's disgusting. And we also talk about real estate on the podcast, not just, the buyers and the sellers, but we also talk about the real estate agent, the real estate workers, and the real estate industry at large on the macro perspective. So we talk about a lot of stuff on this podcast, and as you guys know, it's a lot of information. It's a lot of data to digest. It's a lot of numbers. It's a lot of, just charts everywhere. I mean, it's a lot of work here at fucking Magallon Entertainment. I mean, we're fucking working nonstop, balls to the wall, to the motherfucking body drops on the living room floor. I'm drinking Red Bulls. I'm drinking Monsters again. I know it's not healthy for you, General, but fuck it. I gotta work overtime these days. because my clients are on my ass when we're going to start making money again. VIP subscriber, what's going to be the next swing trade again? Everyone's trying to figure out what we do in this stock market. Are we going long? Are we shorting the market? Are we just stacking up a cash position? What do we do? What do we do? General, what do we do? And right now, honestly, I think the smartest thing, I'm not saying this is the best thing or not the best thing. I'm not your personal financial advisor. I am your motherfucking general. And what I can tell all of you listening to me tonight across the country and around the world, my number one executive orders for every single one of you, I don't give a shit if you're a regular subscriber, a VIP subscriber, or one of my clients listening to me tonight. My number one mandated goal for each and every single one of you, no matter who the fuck you are, where the fuck you are, is to stop spending money on stupid shit and to kill your motherfucking debt and fix your stank ass credit. Because too many millennials and too many Gen Zs and a few of you boomers as well, it's just too many fucking loans. It's too much fucking credit. Like some of you guys, I swear, man, are drowning in fucking debt right now. When I talk to most people who are in their 20s, 30s, and even in their early 40s, the amount of debt that they owe on car loans, auto loans, credit card loans, student loans, fucking any kind of loan, personal loan, collateralized, uncollateralized loans, credit cards, store credit cards. I mean, every fucking credit card. I mean, people just have a shit ton of debt right now. And I think it's getting to them financially, emotionally, spiritually, and psychologically, because it feels like every time people get paid, they can't even celebrate anymore because they have so many fucking payments that are due at the first of the month, at the beginning of the month, or the middle of the month, which is even worse. And it just feels like all your money is basically going to food and bills, food and bills, food and bills. And then you have nothing left over to enjoy your time, to enjoy your life, to enjoy your summer, let alone to invest it so you guys can either buy the dip or do whatever you want. People just don't have that much disposable income anymore. Even the middle class is starting to pull it back. And so that's why it kind of frustrates me when I go out in town and I still see people spending money. And then I kind of snoop. I'm not going to lie. I'm snooping sometimes. I'm kind of using my peripheral vision. And I'll be looking at the cash register just to see, are people really using debit cards because they still got it like that? Or are people using credit cards because they're stupid like that? Which is it? And I see people using credit cards, gift cards, promo cards, asking their mom if she can use her credit card. I'm like, damn, bro. Like, you ran out of money, so now you're asking your mom and dad if you can borrow money from them too? I mean, damn, bro, like, it's vicious out there. I'm seeing a lot of people just like, if they're not cutting back, they're just stacking more debt and stacking more debt and stacking more debt because fuck it, it's my life and I want to live it now. It's kind of it's that mentality we have, I know nobody uses the phrase YOLO anymore, but I swear to God, everyone still lives like it's YOLO. You know what I mean? Like, even though nobody says it no more, you still live like it. Like, people are just still spending money, whether, you know what I mean? Even if it's going to take them 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years to pay off, they just don't give a shit right now. And that's fine. Like I always tell you guys, some people are meant to work paycheck to paycheck for the rest of their lives, And I'm not saying that's the way things should be. I'm just telling you, there's a reason when you guys go out there into the real world, you see all these people like at Jack in the Box, Burger King, Foot Locker, Panda Express, fucking, Pollo Loco, and you go to like all these places, and every time you pull up to the drive-through window, every time you look at the cash register, every time you look inside the restaurant, there's always those people who are 40, 50, 60 years old, still fucking cleaning down tables, still fucking, prepping people's food, still cleaning dishes, still fucking picking up trash from the floor, still cleaning the toilets at Jack in the Box. And they're like 40, 50, 60 years old. And you see them. They're still out there working. I've never seen this many old people still working. It blows my fucking mind. Meanwhile, you have all these millennials that just want to stay at home and live with their parents forever, just smoke weed and go out every weekend. They just don't care. You know what I mean? Like, they're never going to buy a home. They're never going to own property. They're never going to own real estate. They're never going to own stocks. They're never going to own a portfolio. They just don't care. As long as they can smoke out, drink out, and get fucked up every weekend with their bitch-ass homies, that's all they care about. Even if it means they have to live at home until they're 45. And then again, you have a lot of these older Americans, these older people who are 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years old, still working paycheck to paycheck because Social Security just ain't enough. It's never really been enough, but now Social Security ain't shit. That shit won't even last you a week these days. You know what I mean? So And that's why you see so many family members just like living with each other because they don't have a fucking choice. It's harder and harder for people to be able to live on their own these days. Not many people can really afford current rent prices as is these days. So with that being said, that's kind of what we want to focus on the podcast on, these last couple of weeks and months. And so even though I still try to talk about the stock market as much as I can and Bitcoin and crypto and what's going on in the crypto community and the crypto ecosystem and all this crypto technology and you know what I mean? Like we still want to stay on top of that and we still want to talk about it and I still want to educate you on it and keep you informed and keep you, you know what I mean? Like keep you updated on what's going on, in the current environment with current technology. But at the same time, I just feel like the macroeconomics is just it's hitting you guys so fucking hard every paycheck. Like it's hard not to talk about it every night because it's something that you guys have to experience every single day when you wake up and go to work in the morning. Because you guys, I feel like a lot of you guys just work all fucking day and then you come home and it feels like you guys just never get paid enough. Because again, by the time you're done paying your bills, by the time you're done paying the rent or the mortgage, you pay the credit cards, you pay the student loans, you pay the auto loans, you pay the car insurance, you pay all your fucking bills. By the time you're done paying everything, it's like you have nothing left over. It's like you're just working just to like make minimum payments every day. And then because of where interest rates are, it feels like you guys are never going to kill your debt because most of the money isn't even going towards the principal. It's just going towards the interest. And so you're like, it's like you pay $100 on your credit card and like 95 went to the interest and 499 went to the principal. It's like, what the fuck? You guys are going to have to make like 9 million payments from now until the day you die just to kill off a small ass fucking loan balance. But because of where current interest rates are, that's how many Americans are feeling right now. It feels like you're just working and working and it's like it feels like you're never going to own anything. You're just paying off the interest every month. You're not even killing off the fucking principal at all. So because I feel like a lot of you guys are going through that right now, that's why we're so heavy on macroeconomics and just talking about the labor market, the workforce, you know what I mean? We talk about politics here and then, just from the standpoint of what they're thinking of doing in Congress and Senate, in terms of legislation and monetary policy, fiscal policy, things of that nature. We talk about macro politics, especially when it comes to like Russia, Ukraine, and China, and you know what I mean? What's going on in Asia, what's going on in Europe with their pension reform and everything that's going on in Paris with, President Macron's bitch ass, trying to, make people work longer and not longer in order to qualify for a government pension and things like that. And I guess figuring out how that plays out is probably going to, however that plays out, is probably going to have a huge impact or a huge role in what other countries and what other world leaders end up doing in their own countries as well. So I always think it's important to pay attention to macroeconomics and macro politics because a lot of times that stuff can bleed into what's going on here in the U.S. Because the U.S. isn't always a leader. Sometimes we're followers. And sometimes we follow what other countries around the world are doing, or we do what other countries are doing as well or thinking. So anyways, I know that was kind of like a long speech and a long rant, but again, this is kind of where we are right here on the podcast right now, and I just kind of wanted to get that out there. But anyways, going back to the CPI report and the CPI data and what's going on with interest rates, when is the Fed going to pause? When are they going to pivot? What's going on with this unemployment number? What's going on with the inflation numbers? What's going on in the stock market? What the fuck is happening with Bitcoin? Now Ethereum starting to rally and all the altcoins and other cryptos are starting to rally. People are talking about fucking NFTs again and fucking monkey this, monkey that, and everyone wants to jump in on the ape shit again. It's like we're going back to all that bullshit again. And so a lot of people are just like flooding me this weekend with emails in my inbox asking me like what's going on with all of this and what happened with the latest CPI number and what's the current update with inflation. And so, like I said, that's why I wanted to take a step back this week, take the weekend off, take a break, digest everything, go through everything, and just kind of figure out where we are. Look at the charts, look at the data, look at the graphs, leading economic indicators, listening to some of the bank CEOs. I'm probably going to come out with a clip later this week about what's going on with bank earnings and what a lot of the banks are saying. Some of the banks report earnings on Monday this week as well. So I'm very curious to see what some of the smaller the regional banks have to say on their earnings calls But I did get a chance to listen to JP Morgan. I got a chance to listen to Citigroup. I got a chance to listen to Wells Fargo. I got a chance to listen to a lot of the big major financial institutions. I still have a few more to get through, so that's why I'm probably going to come out with like a banking report later this week, just talking about what the banks are seeing, what the banks are doing with their money, and what the bank CEOs are talking about, and what the bank CEOs expect to happen in this country. Because one of the things we always say is the banks always know everything before it happens because they're the ones who own our bank accounts. You know, everything we ever do in life, whether it's with a debit card or a credit card, the banks have access to all of that information. So if anybody knows, you know, what's happening in this economy before we do, it's probably the CEOs of the banks because they see every transaction that happens in the world in real time. So that's why it's important to listen to the CEO of Visa, the CEO of MasterCard, the CEO of Capital One, the CEO of American Express, the CEO of JP Morgan Chase, the CEO of Wells Fargo, the CEO of Bank of America, because these are the companies that own our credit cards, they own our debit cards, they own our visas, they own our bank accounts, they own our savings accounts, and they control our retirement accounts. They are the pension fund managers, they are the hedge fund managers, and they are the index fund managers. They are the fucking retirement managers. So they own all the money, they control all the money, and they fucking operate all the money. So who knows more about money than the fucking banks do? Nobody. So when it comes to what's happening in this economy and what's going to happen in this economy, I would say the CEOs of every major bank in the world probably got a heads up before any of us do. So that's why it's important to listen to their earnings calls and their earnings report, because a lot of them are really transparent in terms of what they see happening and what they see coming. And what's funny is sometimes these bank CEOs, they'll jump on their earnings and they'll say, oh yeah, this is what we're doing at American Express. Oh yeah, this is what we're doing at Capital One. This is what we see happening at Visa. This is what we see happening at MasterCard. This is what we see happening from Wells Fargo. This is what we see happening from American Express. You know what I mean? All these financial entities around the country and around the world. And it's funny that sometimes they'll just be like brutally honest, like, oh, we expect this to happen, or we think this is going to happen, or in our professional opinion, we think this is what's going to happen next. And then surprise, surprise, everything that they predicted would happen literally fucking happens. And then everyone acts surprised, like, oh my gosh, why didn't anyone see this coming? Why didn't anyone tell us this was going to happen soon? Why did anyone predict this? And it's like, bro, the people who own all the money, the people who control the fucking world, the gringos with all the pinche dinero, literally told us on their earnings report what was going to happen. And nobody fucking listened. You know? So it's funny, like sometimes like you guys act like this big conspiracy, like, oh, the banks secretly control the world and the banks control the inflow and outflow of capital and the banks are the ones who see everything happening before it happens. Yeah, and they literally jump on like a conference call and they'll tell all their major big money investors, all the millionaires and billionaires who have like hundreds of millions of dollars in those banks, and they'll jump on a public conference call and be like, okay, this is going to happen next, and then this is going to happen, and then we think this is what ends up happening after that. And then they're like, okay, got it. And then literally that's usually what fucking happens. Like not all the time, not every time, but most of the time, because these guys have access to information that we don't. These guys see things happening at the Federal Reserve, at Congress, at Senate, and in the fucking White House. They are the ones who are having those conversations. They are the ones who are fucking paying millions, if not billions of dollars to all of these quote unquote leaders at Capitol Hill. You know, the ones whose campaigns they paid for so those motherfuckers can be there to begin with. Yeah, they're the ones who are telling members of Congress what to do. They're the ones who control the Senate. They're the ones, you know what I mean, who bankroll the president. They're the ones who nominate people for the Federal Reserve. Most of the people who work at the Federal Reserve are people who used to work for the banks. Wow, what a fucking coincidence. Really? So, again, who do you think understands and knows more about what's happening in the world than the motherfuckers who control all the money in the motherfucking world? The banks! So last Friday, I was basically spending the entire day just listening to the bank CEOs, JP Morgan, Chase, Citigroup, Wells Fargo, JP, like the list goes on. And now on Monday, we're going to get reports from a lot of the regional banks, you know, the one who everyone's getting all their investors to get their money pulled out from. And now all the big money investors who have money at regional banks are withdrawing all their money and they're putting it inside the big banks. So now all the regional banks don't have as much money to lend small businesses. They don't have as much money to help entrepreneurs entrepreneurs. They don't have as much money to help out small businesses in their local districts. Yeah. And so that's something we've talked about, nonstop on the podcast for the last like 2 months, is a lot of small businesses and small business owners and a lot of, potential entrepreneurs are basically getting declined business loans or getting declined lines of equity or getting declined, like financial aid, because these banks don't have as much money to lend out anymore because all of their big customers withdrew all their money and they took it over to fucking JP Morgan, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citigroup, and the list goes on and on and on. Because now everyone's scared that these regional banks are going to start crashing soon and collapsing. And I think a lot of them will, not all of them, but some of them will. I don't think we've seen the last domino fall in the regional bank sector. And so all these millionaires and billionaires and large corporations with millions of dollars at these regional banks, they feel like they have to withdraw their money because if that bank ends up going, underwater soon and they have solvency issues and credit line issues, then, they feel like their money's not safe there anymore. And that's why Janet Yellen at the Federal Reserve and the President of the United States have had to come out and tell everyone, if you have $250,000 or less at a local regional bank, your money's going to be protected. But then all the millionaires and billionaires ask them, well, what about our money? Because we have more than 250,000. We got like 250 million in that motherfucking regional bank. Is our money protected too? And that's when everyone's kind of like, we'll get back to you on that. And that's basically put everyone on notice. If you have more than 250,000 at a local regional bank, your money may not be safe there if that bank ends up having solvency issues. And so because the government has failed to guarantee depositors of over 250,000 that their money will 100% be safe, then all of a sudden, because again, you're only FDIC insured for up to 250K. Anything over 250K and you're not technically FDIC insured. You're only insured for up to 250,000, which for like 99.9% of you listening is probably more money than you'll ever have, if I'm being honest with you. But again, for a lot of millionaires and billionaires in this country, they like to spread their money out because they don't want to ever have all their money in one place, which is technically smart. A lot of them are withdrawing their money and they're taking it over to a big bank. Again, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, the list goes on and on. Because they don't feel like the government is gonna backstop them. They feel like if these regional banks end up collapsing and crashing and facing solvency issues, they're gonna be like, yo, I had $100 million in this regional bank. Where's my money, bro? Oh, well, you were only an FDIC insured for up to 250,000, bro. And it's like, okay, are you serious with me right now? And so again, because the United States government, both the Fed, both the Treasury, Janet Yellen, and the president have failed to 100% guarantee that all depositors with over 250K are going to be safe, that's what's causing a lot of these, quote unquote, run on the banks, right? Because again, anything under 250K and you're insured by the federal government. But that's not the issue. The issue is, what about people's accounts who are over 250K? Are they safe as well? And nobody is basically saying yes with like, nobody's saying yes, like 100%. They're kind of saying, well, maybe, probably. I mean, we'll figure out something later. And a lot of these small business owners, a lot of these, entrepreneurs, a lot of these millionaires and billionaires, they don't feel comfortable with words like maybe or probably or I'll get back to you on this. Like, fuck no. You think they're going to risk that? Hell to the nah. So that's why a lot of these businesses are pulling their money out and taking it over to the big banks, which at the end of the day, what is that really doing? It's just making the big banks even bigger. So that really screws over the little banks. And the reason the little banks are important to this economy is because, again, who provides most of the small business loans in America? It's not big banks, it's the little banks. So a lot of times when an entrepreneur or a real estate agent or some, business, person wants to, borrow some money to start a small business or borrow some money so they can expand their business or even borrow money so they can survive for their business, right? So whether it's expansion or whether it's survival or whether you're a brand new entrepreneur fresh out of college, fresh out of high school, and you're trying to make something of yourself in this world, right? So whether you're a new small business owner / entrepreneur, or you're a current one that's either thinking about expanding, which means hiring people, or you're thinking about just fucking surviving so you at least don't have to fire people, whatever three, of you that is, all three of those people are basically asking their small regional bank, their local credit unions, their local regional banks, if they can borrow some money. Because again, they either need it to start a small business, to keep their small business, or to grow their small business. And right now, these regional banks are basically telling them, we ain't got no motherfucking money, because all our big accounts basically took all their cash out and took it over to JP Morgan and, Citigroup, and the list goes on and on. So we don't really have any money to lend you. So we're being very tight on money. We're being really, really stringent on lending capital. We are being very restrictive on who we give and who we don't give money to. So I get it. You need money. If not, your small business is going to go under and you're going to have to close down. Or we get it. You're trying to grow your small business because it's on fire right now. Or we get it. You're an entrepreneur that wants to become a first-time business owner. But guess what? We're going to have to say no to all three of you because we ain't got no fucking money. Because the big guys all took their money out and went to the big banks. And what's that going to do? It's going to stop new entrepreneurs from starting a small business. It's going to stop current entrepreneurs from growing their business. And it's basically going to let all the companies who are in survival mode, those small businesses are basically going to get left, high and dry. And a lot of them are going to go bankrupt and a lot of them are going to close down soon. And that's why to start 2023, we have seen an absolute explosion in bankruptcies within small businesses across this country. Because now all the regional banks are telling them, we get it, you need money right now. If not, you're going to have to close down your business. But guess what? We ain't got no fucking money. And so, a lot of you guys are going to listen to this clip and be like, wow, that sounds fucked up, General. That sounds so fucked up. Like these regional banks are basically telling them no. And the big banks, they're going to tell them no too. So how are people supposed to have a small business? How are people supposed to grow a small business? How are people supposed to get into a small business? Well, that's the point, isn't it? Maybe at the end of the day, this was always about making Walmart and Amazon bigger. Maybe at the end of the day, this is always about making the big banks even bigger. Maybe at the end of the day, this is always about making sure that the rich stay rich and the poor go back to fucking working on their hands and knees forever. Maybe this was always about making people go from the middle class back down to poverty again. Maybe this was all about keeping us on our hands and knees again. Maybe this is all about making sure they can get most of us to work paycheck to paycheck so that the top 10, 15% can live their best life forever again. Maybe that's what this is all about. Or maybe, just maybe, this is just a reminder to the average American that when you were getting all that stimmy money, you shouldn't have spent it on Bluntos and Modelos and spent it on the last 2 years on stupid shit after stupid shit after stupid shit. And just maybe you should have used some of that money so you can save a down payment for a house. Maybe you should have used some of that money to fix your stank-ass credit score. Maybe you should have used that money to invest it. Maybe you should have used that money to put into a portfolio. Or at the very least, maybe you should have put it into a fucking savings account instead of burning through that pitch just so you can post stupid selfies on fucking Instagram. Maybe, just maybe, people need to learn how to start being smarter with their money and not spending it on shit they don't really need just because they think it's going to make them happy later. Maybe this is always a maturation process to teach people that, when you get blessed with free money, don't spend it on stupid shit. Invest it on smart shit. Maybe this is the reminder that everyone needs. Or maybe this is all a conspiracy theory meant to keep us poor forever. So anyway, so we'll see what happens with all of this. But going back to and again, I want to focus on the CPI numbers. I think there is still there's still a battle between the bulls and the bears. And I want to thank all of you for listening to all of my clips that I send out. When I talk about the war on inflation, part 1, part 2, the battle of the bulls versus the bear, part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. I know it seems redundant sometimes. I know it feels like I'm explaining myself over and over again sometimes. And sometimes I'm repeating the same shit over and over again sometimes. But I do it for a reason. I do it because I'm trying to make sure that the message is clear. I'm trying to make sure that you guys remember what the message is. And I'm trying to make sure that everyone doesn't forget what this is really all about, right? And so sometimes I have to repeat myself over and over again on these clips, but I do it for a fucking reason. It's to make sure you guys don't fucking forget, because, if I only say it once and then I never talk about it again, how many of you guys are really going to remember? So that's why I have to repeat myself over and over again sometimes. So anyways, going back to the war on inflation and what's going on there, I think it always comes back down to the unemployment report. And I think it always comes back to the jobs data, Because right now the unemployment rate is only 3.5%, and you guys know I think that's bullshit. And the reason I think that's bullshit is because I think the workforce is so much different than it was back in the day. It feels like back in the day, and again, I hate to sound like your Theo, but back in the day, people would basically just only work one job, and that one job would be enough to provide a roof over your family's head, pay all your bills, and put something good to eat every night on the dinner table for your entire family. Back in the day, people could support a family of 2 or maybe even 3 with one source of income. Back in the day, people could afford a mortgage with one source of income. Back in the day, a man and a woman, a couple, right? And I know the definition of that has changed over these last recent years, but basically a couple and a household family could survive off of one income, or they can thrive on 2 incomes. But now it feels like even if you and your significant other are both working full time, you're still working paycheck to paycheck, and it's still not enough, and you barely have money to pay the rent, you barely have money to put food on the table, and you barely have money to pay the bills on time. And so I think, given where we are as an economy right now, I feel like most people are just struggling right now. I feel like most people are like squeezing every dollar, every dime, every nickel, every penny out of every paycheck right now. And I feel like a lot of people are just stressed the fuck out right now. And I think, part of that also has to do with the fact that we don't really have as many full-time jobs as we used to. Excuse me. It feels like, and I say this every night, it feels like the job market is just saturated with minimum wage, and part-time bullshit, part-time bullshit, part-time bullshit. And it feels like all of the good careers that offer really good salaries and really good pensions and retirement funds, it feels like those jobs are disappearing more and more each and every single day. And I think that frustrates a lot of people, because I think a lot of you guys go to stuff like Indeed.com or Monster.com or ZipRecruiter.com, and it feels like everything these days requires a bachelor's degree. It feels like everything these days requires a fucking master's degree. Everything these days requires a fucking PhD. And I think that's kind of like, it's beginning to become insufferable. Because now it feels like you either have to have an advanced education, or you're going to get stuck with minimum wage for life. And again, most of these jobs that are minimum wage are also part-time bullshit, and part-time bullshit. And that's why we have all these statistics that the average American is now working 3 part-time jobs. You think the average American wants to work 3 part-time jobs? Fuck no. The average American is working 3 part-time jobs because no one's hiring full-time anymore, because they don't want to pay you the fucking benefits. So when I see the unemployment rate is only 3.5%, I'm like, no, that's kind of bullshit. What it is the rich people are never going back to work again, and the poor people are having to pick up that second and third job now to make up for the fact that the rich person's never going back to work again. So it feels like it's, and me and Sherwin always talk about this when, we have them on the podcast. It's literally the difference between the haves and the have-nots. The people that have money, have income, have investments, have portfolios, have a big net worth, they don't need to work anymore because their money works for them now. But then you have everyone who's not educated, doesn't make smart money decisions, doesn't invest their money, doesn't save their money, and all they do is want to spend their money, usually on stupid shit. They not only work 1 job, they work 2 jobs, and sometimes they work 3 fucking jobs now to make up for the fact that the other people left and basically retired. And so now it feels like there's this separation of people in America. It's the people who work 3 jobs that barely make enough money to pay the bills. And then there's everyone else that basically figured out how money works. And now money works for them, so they never have to work for money ever again. So they're basically chilling somewhere, enjoying their best life, while everyone else is going to be outside, working when it's hot as fuck outside, hands on their knees, paycheck to paycheck. And I don't know, I'm not saying this is the way the world should be. I'm here to tell you the way the world motherfucking is. And that's what I see happening right now in this current economic environment. It's people who are working middle class and below, paycheck to paycheck, part-time, not full-time, and it's usually barely enough money to pay all their bills. And then I see all these other people who are whales and mega whales, and it feels like every day they're just chilling, and they're just making money doing everything. And they don't ever have to work for money. It just feels like they're just fucking buying shit all the time. And I think that's what they're going to do this summer. I think they're going to go on vacations. I think they're going to make travel arrangements. And I think they're going to, enjoy their best life this summer. And I think everyone else is just going to be working all fucking summer long. So anyways, that's why I think that unemployment rate is just bullshit, because I feel like it doesn't show the underlying effects of what's going on in the economy. And I think when you pop the hood open and you actually look what's going on inside the engine, what you're really seeing is, what would be the word? I think what you're really seeing is like a bifurcation or like a separation between those that have it and those that have not, right? The haves and have-nots. The people who are making money nonstop and the people who have money working for them, and then everyone else that's just going to is going to just struggle to figure out how they pay their bills this summer. So yeah, the unemployment rate is 3.5%, which is still really, really low, but it doesn't change the fact that most of those people who are working are struggling more than they've ever struggled before, and the people who are rich have more money now than they've ever had before. So the gap between the haves and the have-nots has actually gotten bigger, even though the unemployment rate is still historically low, which is kind of crazy if you think about it, right? Because what that does is it tells you that if the unemployment rate is super low, that means most people have jobs, most people are finding work, and most people are fucking working. But what it doesn't show you is that most of those people who are working feel like they're trapped, feel like they're stuck, feel like they can't escape, feels like they're drowning in bills, feels like they're drowning in debt, are fucking breaking their backs in half every single day, paycheck to paycheck, hands on their knees. And the ones who aren't working, they're just chilling somewhere, enjoying their best life, watching their fucking net worth go higher and higher. And so that's why, again, I think the unemployment rate is bullshit. Because it's not about how many people are working. It's not about how many people are in the workforce. Or to me, that's what it is, excuse me. It's about how many people are in the workforce. And so the unemployment rate is low, but I think the amount of people who are working 2 or 3 jobs is at an all-time high. And the amount of people who are working like multiple part-time jobs is also at an all-time high. And so again, I just feel like most of the people who are working are getting screwed more now than they've ever had before. And the people who are rich are celebrating life more than ever before. So I get it. Most people are working, and that's why the unemployment rate is low. But I would argue that that's actually a bad thing. I would actually argue that the unemployment rate, even though I do think it's going to go higher, I don't think it's good just because it's low. I think it's just showing you like, damn, and when you look under the hood, it's just a lot of pain and suffering. It's not like everyone's working and everyone's making 6 figures. It feels like everyone's working and everyone's making minimum wage. And that's why I think the Fed needs the unemployment rate to go higher, because I think they look at what's going on in the economy. And when you go on Facebook and you go on Insta and you go on fucking Snapchat, you see all these fucking pendejos out here with their Porsche 911 and the Ferrari and the fucking Lamborghini and the Bugatti and the Rolls Royce and the fucking Ferrari and the brand new Tesla, and I just bought a new fucking yacht, and I got a house here and I got a house there, and I got this portfolio and I got that in my portfolio, and I'm fucking riding with this crypto and that crypto, and you know what I mean? We're going to wait for the Fed to pivot soon, because when they pivot soon, everything's going to go back to the moon soon. And Savasky, all we got to do is hold the line and buy the dip. And then in the future, we're going to have even more money, right? I think when the Fed sees this, they're like, oh, hell no. Some of you bitches still ain't working. Some of you bitches still refuse to go back to work. Some of you bitches still out here enjoying your best life. Oh, hell nah. And that's why when the Fed comes out and they say like, oh, one of the things that we need to see is an unemployment rate above 4.5%. Now, let me say that again. The Fed wants the unemployment rate to be at least 4.5%. We're at 3.5. So the Federal Reserve needs the unemployment rate to go up at least 1 more percent before they're happy. But 1% higher on the unemployment rate is like millions of people losing their jobs. You know what I mean? And so it's like, and again, the people who are going to lose their job isn't the part-time worker at Chuck E. Cheese, isn't the part-time worker at McDonald's, isn't the part-time worker at Taco Bell. The people who they want and need to lose their job are all the highest and paid employees. All the people who work at NASA, all the people who work at Tesla, all the people who work at Microsoft, all the people who work at Facebook, all the people who work at Netflix, all the people who work at Disney, right? What they're doing is they're looking to basically kill jobs that pay a lot of money. So they don't want to see people lose their jobs at McDonald's. They don't want to see people lose their job at Chuck E. Cheese. Hell nah. They want people to lose their job at Tesla. They want people to lose their job at Netflix. They wanted people to lose their job at fucking Twitter. They want the highest paid motherfuckers to lose their jobs and get laid off. Because the ones who are out here spending the most, the ones who are out here doing the most, and the ones who are going to be out here this summer posting the most, ain't the broke bitch at McDonald's, ain't that broke vato at Chuck E. Cheese, ain't the broke pendejo at Starbucks. No, the one who is out here chilling, refuses to go back to work, doesn't want to go back in the office, wants to work from home forever, wants to post all these vacations, wants to do this, wants to do that. The people who are out here doing the most, all that extra shit, just spending money, which makes inflation go higher, is all the high income people, all the high net worth people. And so how do you make someone with the high net worth, how do you make someone with the high income, with the high salary, quote unquote, go back down to earth and basically suffer paycheck to paycheck, struggle paycheck to paycheck? Well, you got to make their net worth go lower. Well, why do they have a high net worth to begin with? Because real estate's high, Bitcoin's high, crypto's high, stocks are high, the economy, people are still spending money even if they're using credit cards. So what do? They need more layoffs. They need business to slow down. They need consumption to slow down. They need demand to slow down. They need businesses to stop getting loans. They need people to stop getting loans. They need credit cards to stop giving free money away. They need interest rates to go higher so your minimum payment on those credit cards keeps going higher in a way, right? And so I think they still need that unemployment rate to go a lot higher. They need it to go 1% higher, which is millions of jobs in the real world. And until they get that, I don't think that, they're going to stop, and I don't think they're going to pivot soon. And so I know this is what really comes down to on the stock market. A lot of people are just debating back and forth, when the Fed is going to pause, when the Fed is going to pivot. And I got to be honest with you. I think the bulls and the bears have been on the same page since day one. Let me say that one more time. I think the bulls and the bears have been on the same page since day one. I think the bulls have been screaming that the Fed is going to pause and pivot soon because they should pause and pivot soon. And when you use the word should, I think that's when the bears say, we agree with you. The bulls and the bears are in agreement. And I think you guys really need to understand this before we can move forward on any economic data. The bulls and the bears agree that the Fed should not be raising interest rates. The bulls and the bears agree that the Fed should not be raising interest rates. The bulls and the bears agree they should not be raising interest rates. They should be cutting interest rates. The battle or the dispute between the bulls and the bears isn't about what the Fed should do. What we argue is what the Fed will do. We agree that the Fed should be cutting interest rates because leading indicators screaming that this economy is about to absolutely motherfucking get destroyed and hammered is screaming every fucking month that things are about to start fucking crashing soon, even though it hasn't happened yet. Credit to the bulls on that. But the leading indicators are screaming that it's going to happen soon, and when it does happen, it's going to be biblical. However, where we disagree is whether the Fed will listen to the leading indicators or will they only listen to the lagging indicators after the damage is already obvious. And that's what we basically disagree on. The bulls are saying that inflation is coming down and the Fed should not be raising interest rates because inflation's already coming down. And if they can get inflation to keep coming down, even though core inflation is still really high, so there's no need for that. But the point is the bulls are saying overall inflation is coming down. And if it keeps coming down, then the Fed should not keep raising interest rates. They should just do a pause and see how much inflation can keep going down based on the current interest rate level. And then hopefully, sooner rather than later, they can start cutting interest rates once inflation continues to go down, so that way they don't risk the unemployment rate skyrocketing. That's what the Fed should do. The bears agree with you. That is what the Fed should do. The Fed should do an immediate fucking pause. If anything, they should already be doing a pivot because inflation is coming down on a macro level, even though core inflation is still really high, which again is food, water, gas. But they should be doing a pause. They should be doing a pivot. Excuse me. That's what they should be doing. But I don't think they will. I think what the bears are saying is that the Fed is just going to be stupid. The Fed is going to be a bunch of dumb fucks. And the Fed is basically going to ignore all of the leading indicators. And they're just going to keep raising interest rates, or at the very least leave interest rates too high for too long. And if and when they do this, they're basically going to allow all the leading indicators to scream that a recession is coming. Then the recession is going to be coming, and then the recession is going to hit. And then when the recession hits, and it gets from bad to worse, and from worse to a lot worse, and then a lot worse to a lot worse, and then from a lot worse to, oh my fucking God, I can't believe it's still getting worse. By the time they acknowledge that things are really fucked up, guess what? Then they'll start to pivot, and then they'll start doing rate cuts soon, but by then it'll be too late. By the time the Fed, because they're using lagging indicators, by the time the Fed actually begins to cut interest rates, it'll be too late. The economy's going to be in a shit show. The economy's going to be the dumpster fire. The economy is going to be in a motherfucking financial apocalypse. And then all of the economists are going to be sitting there, looking at J. Powell and the Federal Reserve, like, pinche pendejos, are you serious, bro? You're surprised we're in a recession? You're surprised that the economy is getting annihilated? You're surprised that the average American is motherfucking suffering? You're surprised? Bro, we've been saying since last April, leading economic indicators, homie, leading indicators. Told you, pinche babosos, that this fucking recession was coming. Why didn't you listen to us last April? And that's what frustrates the economists, and that's what makes this really funny to the bears. Because the people that the bears are laughing at the most isn't the bulls, who are just stupid. Like, if we're not laughing at the bulls, we just get frustrated by them because they think it's all rainbows and unicorns and we're going to get a soft landing and it's not that bad. It's not that bad. Okay, bro. See you in 6 months. But the point is, they're not the ones who are funny. They frustrate us, but they're not funny. The ones who's actually funny is the economists. And the reason they're funny is because they're so passionate in what they believe in, and we agree with them about what they believe in. And it's funny because the Federal Reserve is supposed to be the smartest babosos in the building, and yet they're the stupidest motherfuckers on the planet. Because the economists, who, I'm not saying they're smarter or not smarter than the Fed, because the Fed, I'm not going to say they're stupid. I just say the way they analyze inflation is stupid. I don't want to call them stupid, but the way they do things is stupid. Sometimes that happens in life. I know smart people who make dumb decisions. That happens all the time, right? It happens everywhere. And this is a case of that. This is a case of really smart people who are really making stupid, bad decisions. Doesn't mean they're stupid. It just means right now they're doing stupid fucking things. And that happens, right, America? You know people like that. I know smart people who do stupid things. It happens, right? So I think that's what's funny about The Economist is the economists have spent years, and I mean years, decades, basically trying to formulate and calculate leading indicators so that way we don't always have to wait for shit to happen for us to realize that shit's happened. Maybe there's a way we can formulate and calculate all of these algorithms and leading indicators so that way we can tell when shit's about to hit the fan before it actually hits the fucking fan. Maybe there's a way we can look at some of these numbers and figure out what's going to happen before it fucking happens. Maybe, just maybe, we don't need all this artificial intelligence like ChatGPT. Maybe, bro, if we just look at some of these numbers and what the fuck they're doing, we'll be able to determine what's going to happen in the economy next before it actually fucking happens. Maybe it's not rocket science. Maybe we don't need an algorithm. Maybe we just need motherfucking common sense, America. And so these economists who spent their entire motherfucking lives calculating and formulating and calculating and formulating leading economic indicators that have one purpose and one purpose only, to tell you what the fuck is going to happen in the economy before it fucking happens. And guess what? They did. And guess what? they're right about 90-95% of the time. I'm not going to say it's batting 100. It's not batting 1,000, not batting 1,000,000, but they're right about 90-95% of the time. And guess what? Every motherfucking leading economic indicator in the history of leading economic indicators is motherfucking screaming right now that the U.S. economy is headed for a motherfucking recession. And the Fed is over there looking at these leading economic indicators, and what is the Fed saying? Nah, that's just a bunch of hocus pocus. Those numbers don't mean anything. Those algorithms don't do shit. Fuck ChatGPT. Fuck artificial intelligence. Fuck all your fucking little mumbo jumbo. We don't care about leading economic indicators. Nah. I'm going to wait for the official number to come out. And until the official number comes out after the fact, then we're not going to do anything. It's kind of like, it's kind of like, I saw this video where this guy, like these two guys were getting in each other's face, and the cop was like standing right there, and the cop was like not even doing anything, and the guy was like, man, I'm gonna fucking sock you, bro. I'm gonna sock you. Oh yeah? Well, I'm gonna sock the shit out of you too, bro. Oh yeah? Do something. No, you do something. No, you do something, bro. And like nobody wants to throw the first blow, because if you throw the first blow, then you're the one that committed violence. You're the one that gets arrested. But the other guy, if you hit him first and then he retaliates you and hits you back, that's not assault. That's self-defense, right? And so that's why sometimes you ever like see these people at a bar, at a club, or somewhere in the parking lot. Oh, fuck you, do something, bro. Not fuck you, you do something, bro. I'm right here. I'm in your face. Do something, bro. Oh, I wish you would do something. Like they just keep talking shit, but nobody does anything because nobody wants to be the one that throws the first punch. Everyone wants to be a fucking victim. That's just how we is, America. America, 2022, 2023. Everyone's a motherfucking snowflake. Victim these days, right? That too, though. And so that's kind of where we are. And then the officer just sits there because they're like, well, they're threatening each other, but no one's actually committed a crime yet. Like, no one's actually punched another person yet. So, we're going to break up the fight, but if no one's going to throw a punch, then technically no one really did nothing. We're just going to tell you to go home. You know what I mean? Like, no one actually got arrested for saying they're going to sock someone. You threatened him, but you threatened him back. So I guess we can lock both of you up tonight. But, like, we could also just tell you guys to go home because we all know you're a bunch of snowflakes. Y'all ain't about to do shit. Right? You guys ever see some shit like that? And so that's kind of like what the Fed is doing. The Fed is like, they're looking at the leading indicator like, I'm going to punch you, bro. I'm going to punch you, bro. I'm going to punch you in the fucking face, bro. I swear to God, I'm going to punch you. And the Fed's like, nah, we know that you've been right 95% of the time. And 95% of the time when Mike Tyson tells us he's going to punch us, he fucking punches us. And when Mike Tyson punches us, it hurts like a motherfucker. But we're going to say you got no balls, and this time you're not going to do it. And that's what frustrates the economists, is the economists, again, have spent years and decades and decades and decades formulating and calculating different ways to create leading economic indicators that literally have one purpose and one purpose only in this fucking world, and that is to tell you what's going to happen in the economy before it fucking happens in the economy. That's the only reason these leading economic indicators exist, is literally just to tell you what's going to happen before it fucking happens, based on fucking numbers, based on projections, based on calculations. And throughout history, they have been right 95% of the fucking time. And right now, every single leading indicator in the fucking free market world, in the entire economic fucking universe, is screaming that they're gonna punch us in the face and we're going into a fucking recession. And the Fed is sitting there saying, no balls, we don't believe you, we'll wait, I'm gonna wait, I don't think you're gonna do it, you ain't about to do nothing, you ain't about to do shit, homie, we're gonna sit here right here until you punch us in the face. And then when they get punched in the face and the economy gets cracked and smacked down and gets fucking destroyed and massacred, they're gonna be like, oh my God, how could this have happened? Oh my God, I can't believe we're in a recession. Oh my God, I can't believe all these people are losing their jobs and their businesses, and people are losing their homes again, and oh my gosh. And then when they're in private, when nobody's looking, they're going to be there in a little small room with all these fucking, smart people that predicted this was going to happen. And they're going to be like, haha, We got them to stop spending money. You can't spend money when you don't have a job. You can't misspend money when you don't have nothing in your portfolio. You can't spend no motherfucking money when you're using your job, your business, and your home. You can't spend no money when you ain't got no money to motherfucking spend. Ha ha, we brought inflation down. And they're gonna have like a secret little fucking victory meeting somewhere. They're gonna be all happy that they killed inflation, even though it also means that they killed the average American, they killed the average consumer, and they killed this fucking economy. But hey, they killed inflation, right, guys? So, and then President Biden's probably gonna go out there and he's gonna say, look, I beat COVID and I beat inflation. Look at me, vote for me again. I did everything I promised you. I told you we were going to beat COVID, and I told you we were going to beat inflation. Here you go. Everything's cheap again, and you're vaccinated. Ta-da! And then everyone's going to be like, thanks, Joe. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You killed inflation. At what cost? You killed me in the process. Ain't that a motherfucker? You know what I mean? And then even with the vaccines, a lot of people bitch and complain. The only reason they got the vaccine was because the employer said, if you don't get a vaccine, we're going to fire your ass. And now here we are 2-3 years later, and all the new people who are being hired, they're being asked, do I have to get a vaccine? And the employer's like, nah, we don't care about that shit no more. And then all the former employees, all the current employees are like, bro, what the fuck is that bullshit? Because 2-3 years ago, you told me that I wasn't going to be able to keep my job if I didn't get vaccinated. Now there's new booty motherfucker fresh out of high school and college. You ask him about the vaccine, and now you're going to tell him you don't give a fuck about that shit no more? What kind of bullshit is that, bro? Because across America, you remember a lot of corporations, a lot of companies, every company in the Fortune 500 was like, get vaccinated, get vaccinated, get vaccinated. The teachers, the police officers, the firefighters, the nurses, the doctor, the construction worker, the tow driver, the repo motherfucker, the guy that works at the bank, and the bitch ass motherfucker who works at the credit union, the real estate agent, the promoter, the marketer, the accounting firm. Everyone had to get vaccinated, or you was gonna lose your job. You was gonna get motherfucking fired on your day off. Everyone was gonna lose their job at work if you didn't get vaccinated. Now, what vaccinated? They tell all the new employees, you ain't gotta do shit. We don't care about you. You'll be here today, you'll be gone tomorrow. Who gives a fuck if you're vaccinated or not? So, but anyways, I think that's what Biden's going to come out and say. I think in like 6-9 months, he's going to come out and he's going to say that he beat COVID and he beat inflation. He got all the prices down and he got everyone vaccinated. Ta-da! He did what he fucking promised. He delivered on what he promised. He promised to beat COVID. He promised he would get us out of the pandemic, and he promised he was going to bring prices down, and he promised he was going to bring an end to inflation. Well, guess what? Technically, this might all be true. So, anyways, that's kind of just like my overarching thoughts on everything. Leading economic indicators, again, screaming bloody fucking murder. Every economist in the fucking world, every economist on the planet, every fucking person with a PhD in economics is literally on their hands and knees, America. Literally on their hands and fucking knees begging. And I mean fucking begging with everything they have, with mercy and passion in their heart. Please, Federal Reserve, please, for the love of God, please, for the future of our country, for the future of the nation, and the future of our fucking democracy, the future of the free world, and the future of free market capitalism. Please stop raising interest rates, because the leading economic indicators are screaming that this is going to be a fucking bloodbath. And the Fed's sitting there like the fucking pinche babosos they are. Nah, we're going to wait till it's official. It's all just hearsay, she say. We're going to wait till we get punched in the face. We're going to wait for it to happen. Because we think this time is different. And we think all your leading economic indicators are fucking phony, baloney bullshit. We think it's all make-believe. We're going to wait for the actual numbers to come in. But then the economists, again, this isn't bulls or bears. The economists are there like, bro, why would you wait for the actual numbers to confirm a recession? Because it takes 6 to 9 months for any of your rate cuts or a pivot. It takes 6 to 9 months for it to hit the economy. So even if the economy falls apart tomorrow, if you start cutting rates next week, it's not going to fix anything for 6 to 9 months. That's why we're telling you, you have to do it now. Because if you wait until things get bad, then it's like, bro, you waited too long. Now it's too late. Now it's going to be 6 to 9 months of pain no matter what happens. You know what I mean? It's kind of like when the doctor tells you you need to start eating healthy and you need to start working out more and you need to start exercising because, you're going to get a heart attack and you're going to, die because you're not, you're just, you're not healthy. And then the motherfucker's like, nah, I feel good. And then he keeps eating McDonald's and Burger King and all that shit. And then one day he wakes up and he has a heart attack. And then he goes to the doctor like, I can't believe this happened. Why didn't someone warn me? Oh, pinche fucking doctor didn't say anything. Why didn't he warn me this could happen? Ah, my heart. Ah, my liver. Ah, my kidneys. Ah, my neck and my back. Ah, I'm dying. Ah, no, Dios, ¿por qué? Why did you do this to me, God? Oh, I can't believe I'm dying in the ER. Dios mío. Everyone starts praying to God when they're on their deathbed. And then the doctor's sitting there like, bro, this fat fuck did not just come into this hospital room. He did not just come to the ER. And this fat motherfucker did not just say, I can't believe no one said anything. I can't believe no one warned me. I can't believe nobody told me this could happen to me. Bro, you were just in my office like 6 weeks ago. I told your fat bitch ass, you better stop eating them cheeseburgers. You better put down the motherfucking McDonald's. Oh, I know this mother. And this is what makes nurses mad. This is what makes doctors frustrated. When they tell a patient, do this, do that, do this, do that, do this, and do that, or this is what's going to happen to you. And then what always happens, the patient's like, nah, fuck that fool. He doesn't know nothing. The fuck does he know? Right? And everyone is like, nah, I don't know, fool. He's a doctor. He has the PhD. He went to pinche medical school, dog. Maybe you should listen to him. Nah, fuck that fool. He don't know more than me, dog. I saw this shit on YouTube and this fool on Twitter. And I was watching this fucking video on TikTok, bro. And it said, I could chill, bro. I don't trust what that fool said. It's all make-believe, dog. I'm going to trust what my fucking intuition tells me. My intuition says I'm okay, bro. I'm going to get fucked up this weekend anyways, dog. And then here they are 6 weeks later in the ER talking about, oh, no one warned me. No one told me this could happen to me. Why didn't anyone say anything? Ah, God. I thought you loved me, God. I thought you cared for me. Oh, I'm one of your children, God. Why would you put me through this? Why would you do this to me, God? And then the nurse is just sitting there looking at his fat ass like, this motherfucker. And then the doctor's like, I don't even care no more. Fuck this motherfucker. Let him die. Let him die. Is he a donor? Let's fucking get what we can and get out of here. Because fuck this fat motherfucker. Bitch ass Sangano didn't want to fucking listen. I told that motherfucker what would happen. He ate one more fucking cheeseburger and look what happened. Here he is. This pinche baboso here, this fat fuck. Oh, I can't wait for him to die. Oh, no. I'm not even going to try to save him. You know what, Sabes que? Hey, Samantha, I'm going to lunch. I'll see you later. I'm going to go eat McDonald's just to laugh at him. You know? And so that's kind of, again, that's what it's like frustrating the economists, America, because they're just so fucking frustrated. They're so upset. Because they're looking at, and guys, I'm not saying one or two. I'm literally telling you, out of 300 leading economic indicators that exist on the stock market, 297 of them are screaming that this is going to be a fucking deep, severe massacre in the fucking economy. And you are going to see pain and devastation potentially worse than 0809. I'm not saying it's the same as 0809. It's going to be different, but it's going to be worse. It's kind of like what hurts more. If I whoop your ass with a belt or I whoop your ass with a baseball bat. The baseball bat's probably going to hurt a lot fucking more. The belt, it's going to fucking scrape your skin. You're going to bleed. It's going to fucking crack your, scratch your back open, cut your back open. But if I go ahead and get a fucking wooden bat and start whooping your ass, that's going to break some bones. That's going to break your fucking kidneys. That's going to fucking break your spine. Like, I get it. Getting your ass whooped with a belt when you're a child, that's scary. But like, if someone like named Debo starts whooping your ass with a bat while you're on the ground, that's life threatening. So again, it's not the same. This one might actually be worse than 0809, especially if they keep doing more rate increases. And so that's what, again, it frustrates so many economists. And I feel bad for them, but I'm still laughing at them because it's funny, but it's funny because they're right. They're right. And you know what, guys? I'll say this one more time before we end this clip this evening. The bulls are right. The Fed should not be doing rate increases. They should be doing rate cuts. What the fuck is wrong with them, man? They're fucking dumb. They should absolutely be doing rate cuts. They should have already done a pause. They should be doing a pivot. We need to start doing immediate rate cuts up in this motherfucker. Elon Musk has talked about it. Jeff Bezos has talked about it. What's it called? That old motherfucker. Warren Buffett's talked about it, right? Every smart person on the planet is saying that the Fed needs to start doing rate cuts. Every smart business owner in the world is saying that the Fed needs to pivot soon. Every millionaire and billionaire who knows anything about the economy says we need to start doing interest rate cuts immediately, especially because interest rate hikes don't actually fix anything. You know what would fix things? If we built more houses. You know what would make things better? If we fucking drilled more oil. You know what would make prices come down? If the farmers had more fertilizer so they can grow more food here in the U.S. instead of having to buy fertilizer from around the world like Ukraine. Good luck getting fertilizer out of Ukraine these days, right? And so, like, if you look at a lot of the things that are making inflation higher, it's because we don't have enough homes in the market. And forcing people to sell their homes isn't actually fixing anything. You're just fucking over someone's family at the end of the day. So forcing people to sell their homes isn't actually the best solution. How about you just build more fucking homes, more affordable homes? How about that shit, Fed? How about we grow more food, help the farmers get fertilizer? You know what I mean? How about stop being so fucking reliant on China for everything? Always on our hands and knees begging them for shit. Just because we want shit to be 99 cents all the time. How about, how about we do all these other things to make things better? You doing all these interest rate hikes isn't actually making things better. The only thing you're doing is killing demand by killing small businesses. You're killing demand by killing small business owners. You're killing demand by killing entrepreneurs. You're killing demand by killing millionaires. You're killing demand by killing consumers. You're killing demand by killing the average American in this economy. How about you just build more houses, grow more food? How about you just make it easier for people to thrive? How about you actually help people instead of trying to destroy people in the name of killing inflation? How about that, Fed? But they won't. So as much as the bears agree with the bulls, who ultimately all agree with the economists, that the leading indicators are flashing red and we need to start doing an immediate pivot and we need to start cutting rates ASAP, the reason the bulls and the bears are at war and we disagree isn't because we're fighting about what the Fed should do. It's because we're fighting on what the Fed will do. And what we're saying is the Fed is so fucking stupid that they're just going to keep increasing, and keep increasing. And even when they do eventually pause, they're not going to pivot. They're just going to keep leaving rates too high for too fucking long. Just like they've done at every other point in American history. And then even when the economy starts to come down, even when the economy starts to fucking tumble, and even if and when the stock market crashes, and I do think it will, they're just going to stand there like, nah, it's not that bad. And then it's going to fall even more. Nah, it's still okay. And then it's going to fall even more. Okay, it's getting bad now. Then it falls even more. Okay, it's starting to go from bad to worse. And then it's going to fall again. Okay, now it's really bad. And then it's going to fall even more. Okay, now it's really, really bad. We should probably do something. And it's like, bro, why are you being so reactive? Why aren't you being proactive? Why are you waiting for everything to get super fucked up before you do something? If you know things are going from worse to worse to worse, and things are probably going to continue to get worse, why would you not fucking take action now? Why are you being so reactionary, so last second, so fucking just late to the party every fucking time? We told you 12 months ago what was happening, and you still didn't listen. And now they're still not listening now. And I think for the bears, what we think is that the Fed is so either corrupt or they're so fucking stupid. It's one or the other. They're either corrupt and they want a recession to happen, which they told us that they're okay with it happening, which is hilarious, or they're just stupid and they just don't realize the consequences of their action, which could be the case. Who knows, right? I think it's more likely they're corrupt than stupid. But either way, the Fed is either corrupt or too stupid, too corrupt or too stupid to realize what's about to happen to this economy. And they're going to wait till it gets absolutely murdered before they step in and quote unquote rescue the market. And when I say rescue the market, I mean rescue the middle class and above, rescue the rich and the really rich. And then by then, all the poor people will still be left out to dry. Because at the end of the day, poor people never get saved. You know, at the end of the day, government just wants them to live on welfare forever. And so I think that's kind of what the bears are saying. That's kind of what we're thinking. We're thinking, is this recession going to happen? We think the average American is already in a recession. I get it. The unemployment rate is 3.5%, but your checking account is negative. Your savings account is empty. Your 401k is liquidated. Your Roth IRA is non-existent. Most of you don't own your own home. You live at your mama's house. You live at your in-laws' house, or you live with a bunch of dirty-ass, filthy-ass, nasty-ass roommates in your life. And so whether you're living with dirty-ass roommates left and right, or you're living at your mama's house or your in-laws' house, most of you guys do not own any real estate. Most of you guys do not own any property. You're a motherfucking renter or you're a motherfucking freeloader. Most of you guys got fucked up credit score, jacked up credit scores. You got disgusting debt-to-income ratios. You don't even qualify for a home loan right now. Your FICO score is garbage. You got no money in checking, no money in savings, no money in retirement, no money anywhere, and you're still stacking up money on credit card debt, still pulling loans out the ass, still spending money on stupid shit, and somehow you're out here talking about, I can't wait for the summer on Instagram. I'm going wild. I'm going to be lit. I'm going to be having the time of my life. Got to live my life to the fullest now. On that fucking same played out YOLO mentality. Because you don't give a fuck if you're poor forever. As long as you get some loose pussy on the side, smoke some dirty ass weed, and drink some cheap ass modelos, you consider that a good time. And for most Americans, it is. For most Americans, they don't care. Because for most Americans, they're complacent and they've accepted the fact that they're going to be poor until the day they die. And they're going to work on their hands and knees until the day they die. And for most Americans, as long as they can pay the rent on time, make their minimum payments on time, and buy a taco here and a taco there from Taco Bell, that's good enough. That's the peak of their life. And they don't care if they ever get ahead. Because they're cool where they're at. And that's all that matters to them. For the rest of you listening, executive orders remain the same. I'd be stacking cash like a motherfucker. I'd be killing your debt. I'd be fixing your credit. Improve your FICO score. Start putting money away. Cash positions. You want to be long-term? Be long-term. But don't be long-term and the stock goes down 10% and then you get mad. Because there was a time Amazon stock was down 90%. There was a time Facebook stock was down 70%. There was a time Tesla and Bitcoin were down fucking 80%. Doesn't mean it went up tomorrow. Doesn't mean it went up the next day. But if you're going to be long-term, be long-term. Everyone else, cash, fix your credit, and be fucking ready. Because I'd rather be the guy that says I was wrong and the leading economic indicators were wrong and there was no recession. But hey, at least you got to fix your credit and at least you have money in your savings account. I'd rather be the guy that says I was wrong, but at least gets to say I convinced you to fix your credit and save money in your savings account, than be the guy that's out here telling you it's rainbows and unicorns. And then every night I hope I'm not wrong and a recession ends up coming. So worst case scenario, I'm wrong. Worst case scenario, there is no recession. Worst case scenario, the economy is just fine. It's not a collapse. It's not a crash. It's not a tumble. It's a fucking reset, homie. Worst case scenario, it's really not that bad. Worst case scenario, the bulls are right. This ain't 2008, 2009, and it's not even worse than that. Worst case scenario, this is a small pullback. Worst case scenario, this is only a correction. Worst case scenario, you just end up with a better credit score, a better FICO score, and some more cash in your savings account 6 months from now. Worst case scenario, that's the worst thing that can happen to you. Perfect credit and 10 G's in your fucking savings at least. Best case scenario, I was right. And I saved you from an economic crumble of a lifetime. I saved you from an economic bloodbath that's going to destroy an entire generation. And I saved you from one of the worst recessions in American history. We'll see who ends up being right and who ends up being wrong. But at the end of the day, I want to make this clear. The Fed should pivot. The Fed should cut rates. And the Fed should do everything now to stop the bleeding. Because these leading economic indicators are screaming to the motherfucking mountaintop that this recession is not only going to be bad, it's about to become fucking violent. And if and when that happens, survivors will be few in between, beneficiaries will only be the rich and the smart, and the middle class and below is about to motherfucking tumble. Ladies and gentlemen, you better fucking pray I'm wrong tonight. Because if I'm right, it's going to be biblical. If I'm wrong, then 6 months from now, stocks are higher, but at least you have more money in your savings and you have a better fucking credit score because you listened to me. That's the worst case scenario. Best case scenario, I save you from an economic apocalypse. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to find out quick, fast, and in a hurry. I still think inflation's too high. I still think core inflation's too high. I think rent prices are not even coming down at all. And in some big major markets like LA, New York, San Francisco, they're not even fucking budging. Because we still don't have enough housing in the market. There's still too many people who live at home at their mama's house, and there's too many immigrants coming in from the border every single night in this country. There is not enough apartments, there's not enough homes, and there's not enough fucking buildings for everyone. We are running out of fucking room, we are running out of fucking space, and that's why people keep flooding out of California and are going to places like Texas and Arizona, because they need somewhere to live, they need somewhere to raise their family, they need somewhere to raise their fucking kids. Ladies and gentlemen, higher interest rates doesn't fix any of this. They're only killing demand by killing consumers. They're killing demand by killing businesses. They're killing demand by killing people's portfolios. And if they're serious about taking inflation down to historic lows, then that means they're going to have to take this marketplace and this asset class and the entire fucking economy into newer lows. I think that's exactly what they're going to do. Because I think they're either too corrupt or too stupid to understand that they need to pivot soon. The bulls are right, the economists are right, the leading indicators are flashing. But ladies and gentlemen, they won't fucking listen. Because they either don't care or because they actually want it to fucking happen. Either way, I think you need to prepare. Either way, I think you need to stop spending your money on bullshit and stupid shit immediately. Either way, I think each and every single one of you listening to me this evening needs to prepare for a motherfucking bloodbath. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for listening to the one, the only, the motherfucking general. Magallon!